Just let me know when you see it on Facebook.
I usually get notified. There it is.
Okay, good. I'll hit record. Okay, good. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me. The Shredders Unite business call Thursday night. It's that time of the year. It's the holiday season. I don't expect a lot of people on necessarily, but I do feel people will watch, hopefully, the replay. And I'll give a shout out to Sean. I really thank him for promoting this a little bit and giving it his magic touch. And really what I wanted to talk about tonight is we're at the year end. We're at that time of the year where you begin to think about 2022. You know, where are you today? Where do you want to be next year? I entitled this as resolutions, goal planning, and manifestations. And the reason why I said that is that in order to be successful, in my view, they're all related. And I know that a lot of the things we say are very repetitive, but I'll say it again. What we have here in ER Shred is truly magical, but the product experience in the business is very, very related in that it's all a change from within. When we come alive, it's an internal reaction to feeling good, to basically getting our health back. Yes, we lose weight. It shows up on the outside, but vastly, just about everybody in the group will say the most important aspect of ER Shred are the non-scale victories. How do you feel? How are you sleeping? How do you show up in life? Are you a better spouse? Are you a better father? Or are you a better mother? How are you to your friends? Are you actually finding yourself more productive at work? And the neat thing is that for me, at least, and many of you, I can almost say yes, 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 and yes, and then some, only on the basis that I never in my life have felt this good before. So with Shredders Unite, our business site, our main focus is on how do we support our community in sharing and paying it forward, because that truly is the business. I know a lot of people like to plug in or say they want to plug in and they want to have the how-tos and the outline in terms of the actual steps that I'm to be taking, daily action steps and so on. And we could do a call like that, but I promise you it would be very, very boring. It would not inspire you. And at the very least, it might give you an idea of the business, but I know that I'm not even going to move you in terms of getting you to get closer to your own goal or achievement. I mean, that's it. In as plain as it gets. In order for us to have success, and I was just talking to my wonderful wife, Allison, here tonight. I just got home about 15 minutes ago. What are you going to talk about tonight? And I gave her my quick concept, and I know Sean turned it into saying New Year's resolutions because they're related. A New Year's resolution is nothing more than a goal. It's nothing more than 2022, I am going to X, Y, and Z. You make a commitment. Well, then what does that commitment mean and how are you going to actually obtain that commitment? Well, it starts out with a desire. We have a desire too. But as I said earlier to Allison, without sounding too Dr. Seussy, but it is kind of sounds like a Dr. Seuss rhyme. And Mimi, thank you for that song, by the way. You are so talented. That's amazing what you can pull off with the lyrics. But bottom line is this, it starts with a desire, but without inspired action, you have nothing. So what is it about your goal that inspires you? What is it that you're looking to achieve in 2022 as it relates to your business that is actually going to inspire you? And with that, I thought I would just talk with Allison tonight and just start jiving on a few concepts. But really what it gets down to is your why. Do you really truly understand what your why is and what you're doing this for? Initially, I think for all of us, it starts off as a health journey. Once we start to realize that we can achieve that, we get excited and we begin to share it with others, or our inner circle of friends, they want what we have. So they start bugging you. What the heck have you done? I want that. So then we talk about sharing is caring and how do we pay it forward. For 2022, what I want all of you to think about for the next 2 weeks and it's just something to dwell on. I like to think of it as, how am I going to manifest my future? And I know it sounds woo-woo, but, and I'll get Allison to talk about this, but when you have a vision, you have a goal, in order for it to become reality, you have to have certainty around that goal. But you also must connect an emotion with that outcome. What is it going to mean to you? Not just, I'm going to achieve X, Y, Z, or I'm going to be a six-figure earner, or I'm going to be an Isagenix millionaire, which, by the way, we have put disclaimers. Oh, Jesus. We put disclaimers on the website.
Sorry, guys.
The boys are fighting. I put disclaimers on the website, both on terms of we're not here to cure, prevent, or diagnose any disease with our product. And at the same time, from a standpoint of income, it's going to be based upon your skill set, your ability to network, your understanding of the industry, as well as your ability to communicate and drive. And more than anything, are you capable of inspiring others to take action? So getting back to tonight's goal setting, New Year's resolutions, or you could call it manifestations. I'm going to start with a quick story and I'm going to hand it over to Allison. This is the coolest thing. Yesterday was my birthday, and thank you all for the very, very nice birthday wishes. It's the coolest thing about Facebook. And I also going to say, I think it's the coolest thing about our community. We have such a heart-centered, tight-knit community. This is what's missing in the world. And I think when you listen to not only the pundits or all the people who write books, outside of you basically achieving your goal, the sense of community and your social well-being is just, it's one and the same. And I think a lot of us realized that during this last pandemic. But because of the birthday wishes, it was amazing. I literally got a phone call from Sean's mom, Randy Escobar, and I was distracted. So here's a person, and I'm going to say, living with my wife, I think I know this as well as anybody, but I too will forget the process of what's required in order to manifest. And it's doable. It takes concentration. I got to be focused. I must be in the present moment, but I also have to have a certain intent. I got to have certainty around it, as if it's already occurred, as if it's already happened. So here I am, I'm talking to Randy Escobar. She's wishing me happy birthday. And I said, I have to apologize, Randy. I'm a little distracted. I'm looking for a parking spot in downtown Chicago. And I go, it's almost damn near impossible. She goes, oh, you're looking for a parking spot? I'll manifest one for you right now. I literally turned the corner and a parking spot was right there, 10 feet in front of me. And I'm like going, you got to be kidding me. And she goes, oh, no. I do this all the time for Tony. He doesn't believe me, but she said, oh, I can absolutely manifest anything. I just have to put my mind to it. She said, I have a little bit of luck of the Irish. Anyway, it was cute, but here's what it requires in order to manifest is basically gets down to belief. So with that, I believe if we can have a discussion tonight and talk about our vision, our belief system, and your why, and get really concrete on the emotional attachment you will have to that goal or that resolution, then we have something. So Allison, with that kickoff.
What would you like me to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about, I'm going to start with manifesting because we can start with that first, but then we can kind of work backwards, I think. So if I wanted to manifest a goal, or I have a vision, I have a goal next year for my business with ER Shred, that I want to grow my community by, let's say I want to reach out, I want to be able to build a community of 2,000 new people, not just me, but my team and so on. It starts with a desire, it starts with an idea, but what would you then say are the next steps?
Oh man, I could talk about this all day long. And we could go surface or we could go deep, but the reality is that you are always manifesting something. So whatever your reality is right now, you have created, right? You've created it with the combination of your beliefs, your thoughts that, essentially follow those beliefs. 'Cause beliefs are underneath all of the thousands of thoughts that you have each day, where you're focusing your energy, right? The actions that you're taking in your life or not, right? And, Bob mentioned inspired action. Because that's really the key. Anytime that you're setting a goal, it's, what is that? What's going to inspire you? What's going to move you to actually take the action to make it happen? And that's, why creating that emotional connection and that why is so important. Because you can go to the gym and drag yourself to the gym. I gotta lose the weight and whatever. But unless there's something that's really driving you to want to, release the weight or change your health or whatever it is, unless you've really thought out why is it that you're actually doing this, it's a whole nother energy between taking that action because you feel inspired to do that and excited about it, motivated by it, or from a place of because we know that isn't going to last very long. If that's why people make resolutions at the beginning of the year, because they think that they're supposed to. And the ones that don't last are the ones that are, made from that place of, well, I guess I should probably do something about this. It's January, instead of having a genuine desire for change.
Why don't we start there? Why don't we start with why do people who set goals or more importantly, New Year's resolutions, why do they fail?
So let's talk about that. In order to really understand that, and can anybody relate to that? You're all excited. You're like, let's go in, let's do it. You buy a new pair of shoes, you buy your new workout clothes or whatever it is. And then, you find yourself, your motivation just starts slipping a couple weeks later, a couple months. And if you don't have, the support like we do here at the Year Shred, you've maybe given up on yourself a few times. But to understand that, and we beat ourselves up a lot, when we fall into that trap. But really, this is the way that the human mind and the way that we are programmed. We are programmed to stay stuck, essentially. We're programmed to stay in the known. And, if your comfort zone right now, if what is, staying stuck, even though that sucks, you still know it. You know what it is, right? And so going outside of that is, it's outside of the known.
Well, let's talk about that. So basically, when we have a new thought or we want to make a change that's outside of our norm, that's basically shifting our paradigm, right?
Right.
So we can have a thought that I want to shift and be a new me. But when that occurs, we're outside of our comfort zone.
Right.
So let's talk. So when we do anything brand new, and this is anything in life, it's going to push you outside of your comfort zone for a period of time. And the result is your old programming.
Right. So basically what happens is that sort of survival mode kicks in, and it's called what Rod Hairston refers to as deception. And so it's that period of time right after you've made the decision that I'm going to change something about my life. I want something better. I want something different than what I have right now and who I am right now and how I identify right now, right? And so you start to make those changes. And as you start making those changes, your identity starts shifting. Your perception of the world starts shifting and changing. And what happens is sort of that old voice comes and kicks in. It's called deception. It's that period of time where you're basically convincing yourself why you can't have it, why it was a stupid decision, why this isn't sustainable, whatever it is. And feel free to type it down into the chat, whatever that is for you, that story essentially that you're telling yourself why you can't have this new thing. And the reason why it happens is because this old version of you, this current version of you, and this identity that you have about yourself and about the world around you and about what's possible is clashing with this new, more empowered version of you, this new vision of where it is that you want to go and what it is that your life, you want your life to look like. And they start to clash, right? And essentially it's a battle in ways between the mind and the conditioning of the mind that just wants consistency, even if consistency is not bringing you joy, right? Even if consistency is not supportive of your health goals, right? Because you're consistently not supporting your health goals, but it's still consistency. So your mind really tries to do whatever it can to basically pull you back into this old identity because you are in your comfort zone. And then, the other part of you that really wants this thing typically gets sucked back in, okay? Unless you're aware that this is going to happen. Okay, this is going to happen. It's not a matter of like, is it going to happen or not? It's happening. And here's the thing. It's a good thing because it signals, it means that things are literally changing. You are growing, you are evolving. Your sabotaging mind does not come in unless things are actually changing and moving in the right direction. So when you start to notice this, just notice that it's happening. And then just think to yourself, oh, this is what Allie and Bob said was going to happen. I expected this, right? But what's going to really push you through this, because it's very easy to get sucked back in. What's going to push you through is being really grounded. And again, why am I doing this, right? Your vision has to be bigger than your comfort zone. You have to want it. You have to have made the decision that it is happening, come hell or high water. Not, oh, I'm going to try to build my business this year. I'm going to try to do this. No, it's I'm doing this. And that's a choice. And that is a decision that you make. And the energy, again, getting back to the energy behind your actions, when you take committed energy, right? When you take that and you apply that to your actions, that's going to catapult you into a whole new stratosphere versus, well, I'm going to just sort of half-ass my way through. I'm going to try, I'm going to be 1 foot in, I'm going to be 1 foot out.
Let's just chunk it down in little pieces. So everyone understands what their comfort zone is. They also understand once they get outside of their comfort zone, naturally you're uncomfortable for a short period of time. What you're talking about is the things that are going to the things that are going to knock us sideways are our sabotaging, will self-sabotage. It's all because of our limiting beliefs. It's the monkey mind. It's the self-talk. I'll try, like you started talking about, I'll try. Well, that's just an excuse that, you can fail. It's okay. But in order to get pushed through self-sabotage and those limiting beliefs, this is the trick. This is the secret sauce that's going to allow you to break through, to get out of the comfort zone and be successful. And that's where you're talking about the visual certainty of what you want aligned with your why, and putting some really strong emotions behind that will move you and move your subconscious. It will change your self-talk, and it will neutralize those limiting beliefs.
Well, so
that's what I want to get at.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of things.
I mean, it's many levels there, but
so whatever's coming up for you, whatever those limiting beliefs are, whatever that inner voice is, and whatever it is that it's telling you, right? That's the internal deception. That's bubbling up because those are the things that you have to work on in order to move to that next level. Those are the things that you're going to have to let go of in order to step into that new next level. And what's going to drive you to keep moving and to keep pushing forward, even though it's uncomfortable, even though you're going to have, these thoughts and these doubts and these fears that creep up, the thing that is going to push you through and keep moving forward is having a deep understanding of why this is even important to you to begin with. Okay. A lot of times people set empty goals. They'll just say like, well, I want to enroll 10 people, or I want to make $1,000. Why? What are you going to do with that money? Like, why is that important to you? Why is it important to you to have this additional stream of income? What are you going to do with that? What is it going to allow you to have and give and do, right? So you have to really attach it to why is it, personally important to you, because that's going to be what's going to push you through when you start sludging through the mud and it gets really uncomfortable, is having a deep understanding of why it is that you're even doing this to begin with.
So what I want you guys to think about, and there's many multiple levels. Jesse, if you're still on and you want to chime in on the product side, I think you'll get to where you'll understand what I'm saying. One of the beautiful things about ER Shred is that we become self-aware. And that's the key to almost everything in life, is to be self-aware. It's not being told what to do or how to do it or why it occurs, is that you internally understand why it happened. Now, when it occurs with our product experience, that whole process, our journey, is a journey of self-awareness. We get ourselves down to baseline, and then we start bringing foods back in, and we begin to experiment on what works for us, what doesn't work for us. The beautiful thing about this protocol is that it's so simple that if you just follow and stay on the tracks, as Jesse will say, it's going to allow you to not only have that self-awareness, but you're going to have that come alive moment where you're like, oh my God, I feel different. So all the things that you used to tell yourself from a physical standpoint of, I'm not going to be able to lose weight, I'm not going to have the energy, I'm getting older, I just have to accept that's just the way it is. We blow those limiting beliefs out of the water because we have that self-awareness, if that makes sense to you guys. So the same thought process is, you need to use the same process when it comes to business goals, creating a vision, or as we would say, you want to manifest your future. What does that look like? What do you see yourself doing? What would you like that to be? And what's going to drive your why? What's going to get you there? But then, as you said, okay, I made $1,000 or I made $10,000. Then what?
Or I want to.
What did I use that money for? Did it make me a different person? How did I show up differently? I mean, these are all the deeper questions, the emotional questions that you will ask yourself. And all I'm asking you guys to do is start thinking about what that future looks like for you. For me, the concept that I am now a 32-inch waist, I actually started thinking about that 6 years ago when I was weighing 230, thinking that I would get there. I tried a macro type program from somebody and it just didn't work for me. But I kept my vision. I kept thinking of myself getting a 6-pack someday. I felt, what would that feel like when I obtained that? And you can bring this up, but as my wife would say to me, Allison will say, that if you put it out there to God or to the universe, when you do that, there is no set time. Like, it doesn't work in your mindset in my time frame. Like, I'm thinking 3 months, 6 months, a year. But if you stick with that vision and it means something and you have inspired intent, like it really means something to you, it will eventually happen. In my case, I had to wait 3 years for Sean to discover ER Shred. and Jesse, and for them to run in and have the amazing first 2 weeks of the results. And I thought, okay, I'm in. But with that, though, look what arrived. My vision came true. It wasn't on my time, though, but it still happened.
Well, and you had the belief that it was possible. Like, I think that Sean showing you what was happening with him, like, may have sparked a belief, like, maybe this is it. Could this be it?
Right.
Is this possible? And that is really where it starts with.
If it worked for Sean, maybe it'll work
You
for me.
have to have the belief that it is possible, even if you don't know the how quite yet. And we like to figure things out. We like to use our logical side, and we don't understand the how it's going to happen. A lot of times we just don't believe that it's even possible, but it's the opposite. You have to first find evidence that it is possible by looking at other people in our company, looking what people have done around us, right? If you are not there yourself, that's okay. Looking at what is possible to create and to build your belief that if it's possible, it is also possible for you as well. Even if you don't know how exactly you're going to get there, you first have to decide it's happening and that it is for you. And then comes, okay, what are the things that I can do right now? What are the action steps that I can take right now to line myself up with the vision that I want?
Let's look. So this is interesting. So I find that in my past where I have failed, it's usually when I get caught in the mundane how-to details. I got to have the details. I got to understand how it works or why it works. The reality is that when you get stuck and caught up in the how-to, that just potentially leads to triggering your limiting beliefs and sabotaging your results. It actually slows down the opportunity for you to succeed. And I'll just give you a quick example. You all know that I read 3 books before I did the ER shred because I had to have something concrete in my mind that said it was okay to do it. Even though I saw what Jesse was doing, I saw the success that Sean and Crystal had. I watched the group of 10, the first people on October 1st, Brad, Say, and Sean, and Tony and Randy, and that first group have amazing success. Even with that, I still had to read the 3 books. So what was the result of that? I power read them, but I still didn't get started until the 23rd. And I was very honest. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Allison, because she sat there right on that couch right behind me and said, I know that you want to do this. Let's do it. I'll do it with you. And I was like, are you kidding me? And she goes, no, I know you want to do this, so I'm going to do it with you. Somehow, some way, well, she's my wife, but she knows me pretty well, but she knew in order for me to get out of my intellectual left brain how-tos, she had to give me that loving nudge of, I'll do it with you. Let's do it. And I was like, wow, okay, we're going to do it. And that was all, there's a perfect example. Had I stuck in my how-tos, I could have been in November or December or January. The kids are leaving. Hold on. He doesn't like it. In other words, had I got stuck in the how-tos in that example, I could have gone months before ever experiencing a shred. That's a simple example. I'm sorry for the distractions, guys. What I just want this to be is fun-loving for us as a community. I want this to be fun for you. That was the major theme that Sean said in 2021, is that we're going to have fun. We've done that. Now I would love to support you in supporting you in getting what you want. What is that goal? What is that vision? Well, what I'm asking our community to do is to give this some real heartfelt thought of what this means for you. What does it look like? But then hopefully give you some of the tricks that we're talking about tonight to make it become reality. And that is, it will start with your why. It will start with making a commitment. But before you make that commitment, you have to attach an emotion to the outcome. In other words, what is going to change? How am I going to feel? Maybe it's playing with your grandkids on the floor. Maybe it's having the financial flexibility to take trips or to be with your grandchildren or to do things for your kids. A lot of things we would love to do, I think, but a lot of times we make excuses, or we'll just say, I don't have the money for that I don't have the money. So that's a limitation. I would like to, but I don't have the time to get off work, or I don't have vacation time. Again, that's a limiting situation, but it develops into a limiting belief. Why am I not going to be able to obtain these things? The beautiful thing that we have within our community is we've all seen it grow from whatever it was, 17,000 to 24,000 today in the last year. But understand that 17,000, there were a lot of people that were just jumping ship because they didn't understand what we were doing, eating red meat, and they didn't understand what the ER Shred protocol was. So there was a little bit of churning going on in the first 3 to 6 months. But that said, we've created a really strong community in a very short period of time. And what I want to say is that this is a microcosm of what's possible for all of us. If we have the right intent, if we have the right focus, we too can create the Mimi team, the Don Drury team, the Jesse Jamnick team, and they can all be 24,000 people strong. And the reason simply is that what we have works. It makes us change from within. We have this come alive moment. Energetically, we have shifted and we're new people, but our creativity comes back, and most of us are striving to improve ourselves. Okay, what's next? It's showing up in the form of people taking on physical, obstacles. I'm going to climb Mount Everest or whatever it might be. I'm going to run the 5K. I'm going to run a marathon. And we're seeing people achieve these things. We can do the same thing when it comes to our business and our financial goals, but it requires the same methodology, if that makes sense. I know that in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to spend some quiet time to think about what do I want to achieve in 2022, and what does that look like as relates to our journey with ER Shred. And I know that in order for me to be successful, it's going to take intention, but it's going to take inspired action. I can't do it by just thinking wonderful things. I have to take action. But in order for me to stay on my tracks and not get off track, because Jesse's not going to be there from the business standpoint, beating me up, saying, stay on the tracks. What keeps me on my tracks is my vision and my why and the emotions that I can attach to that. That's kind of the magic, the triangle that I want you to think about. Is there anything else I'm missing on that?
No.
So, what I would ask is, where are we? We're at 24,000 people. Imagine we've got, if we just do the straight numbers like Isagenix and say 10% of the people will pay it forward and share, that would suggest we've got somewhere between 2,000, let's say 2,400 on the high end, that might be willing to share their results. And think about that. If everybody just shared it with a couple of people, right there, we grow by almost 5,000 people. The reality is that we're getting that snowball. We've been pushing it uphill for the last 12 months, but we're now getting to the point where all of a sudden we're going to have a lot of energy moving that snowball. It's going to become literally like easy. It's just going to become easy. There'll be a lot of momentum. There's a lot of energy. And with energy comes excitement and so on. And that's what I really, truly believe in our community. My goal is I want to help people change lives for their betterment. I want them to feel better. I believe I can do that not by me convincing them to do it, but asking them to take a look at our group. My only limitation is that in the short term, in this case, they have to be on Facebook because that's where our community really resides. But that said, I believe that if I invite people into our Facebook community and they have an opportunity to see what's possible, I truly believe that at least half of them at some point in 2022 will probably take action, if not more. But it's going to be the required of me, though, is I have to be in communication and I have to be consistent and I have to take daily action, weekly action, monthly action. I mean, you do get down to the how-tos. Don, do you have any thoughts or questions on this? You might type in. I don't.
Well, so I was just thinking, what I could be doing to improve, and I'm pretty good at signing up people, but it's keeping them. That's the hard thing for me, and it's just, to me, it's a matter of taking the time to reach out, follow up, and do things. I kind of expect, when I did this thing, I mean, I saw Bob and I'm like, wow, I want to try this, right? So I did it the Monday after Thanksgiving last year, lost 8 pounds or 10 pounds, whatever it was. And, I didn't need to have Bob calling me and checking up on me and all this stuff. I mean, I'm a guy, you give me directions, I follow the directions, I do it, and I kind of expect everybody else is going to do that too. And that's not the way it is. So
what's your process after you set them up?
Well, so that's probably my weakest point, Allison, is that I do this, I get the calls, with ER Shred now, who is it that she puts together the is it not Heather but Joan? She puts together the things for each day.
Tiles.
Yeah. Copy those babies. I message people every morning, say, hey, here you go. You got this. Let's make it happen. And but then then after 11 days, people give me their results. I'm thinking, okay, you guys got this. You keep going. You can do this. And it doesn't necessarily happen. I mean, I get a Jeff Forget, who does fabulous, and he's loving it, and he's come out of his shell. I mean, he never used to like to post on Facebook. Now he's posting all the time, which is great. And but for every one of those, I've got 9 other ones that lost weight and did well, and then they stop. It's like, okay.
So maybe having a conversation about next steps, to help transition them into, okay, what comes next. And making like a plan for them, helping them to kind of transition into what do the next 30 days look like? Do they need to order more products? Like, are they good? Do they want to, it's just so that they have a plan, and then just checking in, I think that like initially when people are getting started, especially because they are in that deception phase where they're at risk of falling back, really being more hands-on during those early stages, because I always think of it like like how a plane takes, I think it's 75% of the energy is in the takeoff, right? So like once somebody's taken off, then then they're just coasting, they're taking off. But initially pouring more energy and really nurturing that person and supporting them and making sure that they're okay. And like, I just find that having as much communication as you can in the beginning as possible, to just get them through those like moments where they are sliding back into their old habits, making sure that they know that you're there for them to like brainstorm out how this could work into their life, or whatever. It is going to take a little bit more focus on the front end and commitment and energy in the front end, but it is going to pay off in dividends in the in the long run. So that's what I would say. Just maybe
I mean,
spending a little bit more time on that part.
there's a lot of parallels, as I was saying earlier tonight, to start between the business and to get people to be successful on this new protocol. Even though we know it works, we have to support them in breaking through their limiting beliefs about themselves and as well as what's obtainable. And if you come to it as shallow as, oh, I want to lose 10 or 15 pounds, but there's nothing associated with it. In other words, how am I going to feel when I lose 15 pounds? How am I going to improve? How's that going to improve my life? And attach an emotion to it. It's just like having an empty resolution. They're going to end up failing because there's just nothing to it. Oh, I lost the 10 pounds, but they didn't give it any thought. They themselves didn't do the work that's necessary in order to permanently succeed. You got to break through and get out of that comfort zone. And this is a replaying theme that you see in life, but you see it in people's health. We see it in people, how they actually put the protocol to work and how they quit or give up on themselves. But you see it over and over again. That same theme happens when it relates to business or their goals, their New Year's resolutions. That's the first thing Sean said to me. I don't like goals because most people, they fail. I don't like resolutions because 99% of them, they don't work. And I'm thinking to myself, I know they don't work, but nobody has come to it from the angle that we're talking about, which some people are going to say it's very woo-woo, but it's getting, and I joke, I say that in jest right now because I know it works so well. It is, okay, do you have it? Okay, makes your skin crawl. It's a triggering word for Allison.
It's very triggering. I need a safe room.
However, I mean, it's just getting in touch with your emotions personally, which is a scary thing. Getting into that deep, dark, spots in your mind and getting connected with that emotion. That's why when I had that come alive moment and I was trying to explain it and I was getting tripped up, I got emotional. But I got emotional because I thought about how, who else knows how good I feel except for my wife, Allison. Allison, you got to tell people I'm a changed man. And as a result, it got me choked up and I started getting teary-eyed. I started to cry, but it was the realization that I actually did change.
I think that when you do the initial intake, when you have that initial conversation with the person, trying to really ask those questions and understand how, whatever their situation is, whether it's they got bad blood work or, whatever, but like, how is that impacting them in their life? Like what, like just really making that connection for them about why this is so important, so that you can remind them of that also when they're falling off the wagon or when they're doubting themselves. So because it's not just for us that we need to get in touch with why we're doing it, but we need to get better at really helping the people that we're talking to understand why they're doing this. And I don't know if, we have something that we used to use called the PA, the personal analysis. And I think do we have that anywhere, Bob? I think Isagenix has like the new client interview. Maybe that's something that we can post or resurrect, the personal analysis.
So we did,
what it does is it helps you have them fill it out. And, they're going to rate themselves. How's your sleep? 1 to 10. How's your this? How's your that? Whatever, why is this important to you? And it's going to ask them a series of questions that, you're going to tell them that when you answer these questions, it's going to really help you to understand why you're doing this and just have a baseline of where you're at. And I'd like you to share, if you feel comfortable, I'd like you to share it with me after you've filled it out. But so that you don't have to feel like, you have to know how to coach somebody and get to their deep, dark why, but it's just a process that allows them to, have sort of these aha moments of why is this important? And it also allows them to vision cast for themselves because there's a statement at the end that we ask them to fill in the blank, basically. When I fill in your blank, lose 10 pounds and blah, 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 I will feel like blank, 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 empowered, whatever it is. Like, it's just kind of an easy way to help them get connected to why they're doing it. Just beyond, I want to fit into my, skinny jeans.
No,
Well,
yeah.
Allison, you had mentioned Rod Hairston earlier, and I forget what the name of the program was, but when I
Yeah,
started,
Healthy
almost
Mind and
7 years
Body.
ago. Yeah. And did Isagenix just not want to pay the fees for that or something? I mean,
No,
I thought that was a great program.
it was a wonderful program. Bob and I both got certified through him to coach,
to
on
teach it,
that
yeah.
and teach on that. And yeah, he talked about the cycle of growth, and that deception is where people get stuck. And basically it was a wonderful program, but various things, they parted ways and we don't have it anymore.
I think one of the things that might be that might be a great idea that comes out of this call tonight is that we come up with an ER shred
PA.
Yeah. And we can shredderize it. We can make it as part of our ER shred experience. But the intent of that is to keep people on the tracks.
And not to interrupt, but so we send them the shred guide and the measurement sheet, and then you could send the PA along with that, right?
Right.
And,
Right.
Yeah,
But the first and foremost, the PA is just a guide is a guide to your why. Why are you doing this? And they don't realize that's happening because the questions are pretty innocuous. It's like, what is your goal?
And it's a baseline for where they're at.
Yeah. How are you going to feel?
They can look back and see where they started. Because, when you start changing and things start changing and you start getting your energy back and, you're sleeping now, like, you forget how shitty it was. And it's kind of nice, for them to be able to look back and see, God, my stress levels, are lower. My this is lower. My, to really kind of see the changes.
I think that was an important aspect because we would ask them to rate themselves on 5 different categories on a scale of 1 to 10. And it didn't matter. They were all over the map. So there's no right or wrong answer.
And it was like I think we even, your relationships, maybe your mental clarity. Like, we could come up with a new version of it, like more of a shredderized version of it.
But it still works.
But I think it would be good to even maybe have them do it right when they start, and then, 30 days later or something.
It's the first thing that you do.
But like, that would be cool to have like a side by side, like ask them to repeat it, so they can see that things have changed.
I like that. And since we kind of set this up as an 11-day program, but we kind of just say would like for you to take the next 30 days to begin to experiment what foods work for you. I think we can do a before and after revisit and say, okay, you started here and you rated yourself, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, whatever you're at. Now the scale has moved. Now where do you rate yourself?
I think that,
I think it's going to be a good tool.
It's a great tool.
I think it's something we should.
And I really think that, having the community is obviously incredible. Like, it's, the support is there and it's wonderful and people know they can go there. But I really do think that what makes the biggest difference, in addition to the community, is having a little bit more of a hands-on, like being careful to not just say, oh, well, we have the community, we're good. Because as you're saying, it's the retention that's really important. And some of that is definitely, that's in the follow-up, that's in personalizing it.
One of the nice things about what the PA does for people, it's like journaling. We'll tell people, they will meditate on a concept or idea. But if you really want to take it next level, everyone's going to tell you to journal, write it down on paper. get your thoughts on paper, write it out,
Absolutely.
write it down. Then you have something. Well, when you force someone to write down where they're at and what their goals are in the beginning, it's the same concept as journaling. And then it gives them the opportunity to have that compare contrast after they've experienced it. And that just cements their belief that, oh my God, I really did change in all these areas.
Mhm.
Because unless we point it out, like Don, you said, some people just walk away. I don't think they really give it a lot of thought of, wow, yeah, I lost weight, but what else did occur in my life?
Right.
Our whole
And it builds value beyond just I lost weight when you're asking questions about how's your mental clarity and how's your focus, how are your relationships and how are your stress levels. Then it's like, oh yeah, like this isn't just about weight loss. It starts to build value for them of why they would
So,
want to continue.
I remember the old statistics because we did this for years. This is when the company was booming because everybody was following that. Even Sean got started this way. Everybody was doing a PA and it was a lot of work. But with that work, we grew and we had tremendous retention. So Don, if I were to say, I'm going to have a 1-page 10 questionnaire PA that I want you to send to all of your people. But if you do this consistently, you're going to more than double your retention. Would you say that's worthwhile?
Let's say hell to the S,
Okay. And that's pretty much it. Because initially, and I'll tell you where the self-sabotaging, the limiting beliefs occur for the average person is they go, oh, that sounds like it's a lot of work. Because then you're sending out one more piece of information. You're asking them all these questions to fill it out and so on. But if you're really in this for the business and you want your friends to succeed, all we're doing is giving them a little nudge. We're giving them the extra tool.
So do you help them fill it out or?
We've done it both ways. I've literally said, Don, you have that PA that I sent over to you, and you say, yeah, okay, great. Do you mind if we go through it right now? And I'd say, great, okay. So you number one question, what's your number one goal? And it's A, B, or C. I'm looking for weight loss, energy, overall wellness. And some people will give you, well, I think it's all three. It's one or the other. What's most important to you? And it's just asking a lot of questions. And on to number two. And, my ultimate goal is to lose X, Y, Z. Okay, great. Then the third question is, when you lose the weight, how are you going to feel? And then at the end, the question, after you do the 10 matrix on, relationships, weight loss, physical, sleep, and all these things are asking you to rate yourself on. After that, it's an affirmation of, okay, now that you've arrived, you've lost your weight, close your eyes, think about what is that? How do you feel? Give me 3 adjectives. And people would say, oh my God, I feel sexy. I feel energized. I'm excited. And so we'd go, great. So we turn it into an affirmation. I am so excited that now that I have lost 25 pounds, I am sexy, excited, energized like never before, something like that. And we would come up with a statement and we would just literally say, hey, when times get tough, we want you to read that affirmation because this is why you're doing it. And I want you to just drill into your mind those emotions. How are you going to feel when you've got that goal? And that's really what we're talking about. Is tonight's conversation is almost, it's the PA. From the business, from the goal writing side, it's the same thing. Getting really solid on your why. And if you haven't read the book, Start With Your Why, that's a great book to read. It's one of the best books ever written on this topic. But get really solid on your why. Isagenix used to spend half a day teaching this kind of stuff. At celebration or New Year's kickoff, they would get you to focus in on your why, and David Woods and so on. But these are basically the foundational pieces that are required in order for you to be successful in any kind of business, but especially as an entrepreneur, we need to have these guideposts to keep us on, running straight. I mean, because it's not like we're a big corporation. You don't have a boss. So you need that extra help to keep you on track, to keep you focused. Otherwise, it gets so easy to get distracted. And that's, procrastination, distraction, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that's the thief of all I mean, that just steals from you. I know we're coming up here towards the hour. What, any other thoughts there?
No, I think we covered a lot tonight.
We did.
So
Oh, I got a great idea.
Where is everybody tonight? I mean, it's 8:30, 7:30, is that?
People are
Yeah.
watching on Facebook too,
Oh, are they?
watch on-
Okay.
but I think people just check out.
I think it's the time of the year.
It's the same.
It's-
Oh, that's
You know, there's people are shopping, people have parties, whatever, and that's okay. It's year end. Beginning in January, I'm going to start again doing interviews and being a little, bringing a mixture back again. But I just want to use this last 2 weeks as a time of reflection. Just think about what this year's meant to you. Where were you before your shred? Where are you today? And, where do you see that carrying you into the next year? I mean, we happen to use the calendar year as a starting and a stop point. We've got 2 weeks left of this year. We got a new year ahead of us. So what does that mean? An ultimate, we're programmed. Okay, new year, I got to have new goals. I got to have a new vision, whatever. But I think it's a great time of the year to be with family. It's a great time of the year to be grateful, to also be reflective, to think about what you've actually achieved this last year. We have achieved so much as a community. It's mind-boggling. But I think if we can also do that and think about what we personally have achieved this year and how is that going to make a difference going into next year, that will help hopefully germinate or give you some ideas on, what your goals will be. Where do you want to be next year? Time flies. I can't believe that I've been at this since 2004, and that'll be 18 years for me in March. I mean, that went by like that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I really, for myself personally, I mean, the greatest thing that's happened to me is the ER Shred and the opportunity to do these Thursday night calls. It's been a blessing because it gives you a purpose. You feel like you're making a contribution. You feel like you're making a difference. I think Jesse would say the same thing. I know Sean says the same thing. And it's an honor to do these calls. That said, I want to be able to step up and I want to be able to grow my business to a level where I am comfortable with. And that requires action on my part. And when I'm telling you all the things tonight of what we need to do, these are the things that are going through my mind right now that I am, having that, my second time saying it, Mimi, but I'm having that come to Jesus moment of, okay, it's time to get real. And with that, I have to get connected to my emotions. I have to get connected to my desires and what that vision looks like. But then I have to wrap around what is going to be my inspired action around that. And this is the only way I know how to do it. I know you can't just write it down and say, I'm going to be XYZ next year, and you throw it up to the universe and it just miraculously appears. I mean, maybe some people win the lottery too, but that's the whole goal for tonight, guys. I really
hard to win the lottery if you don't buy a ticket. So
Totally,
you got to put the work, got to put the work in.
100%.
And I would like to add just one thing personal that I've done, Bob, and all of y'all. You posted the Bob Proctor Change Your Paradigm video,
Yes.
and I watched that. And so I have been speaking that, and the perfect time for me is on the bike when I round the corner and I see the first sunlight and the color in the sky, and I proclaim it like out loud on the bike as I head toward Federal Highway, and I roundabout. By then I've said it 4 times, but I'm also doing it for my personal development too. It has to do with leaving where the place where I'm living, but I'm not just saying I want anymore. I say I'm going to have the best place to live. It's going to be safe and beautiful. It's going to be the place that I want. I'm stating all the things I'm going to do because those are my dreams, but now they just have to be goals. And it comes with Ali is so spot on because I think I've turned that corner now for the things that I desire, I deserve. And the things that I deserve are going to come to me. And I just have to start there. by the belief, with the belief. It's so important.
Love it.
All that stuff that Bob Proctor does is absolutely amazing. I actually have it up right here. I saved it up. You can save, you can create a YouTube library. So like for my favorite stuff, I save all of that because I'll go back and I'll watch this over and over again. And then you got to basically do the steps. You got to journal, you got to write it out and then just keep writing it out. And it sounds like you're being punished in grade school for, writing on the chalkboard, I will not. Instead, rather than writing, I will not do something, you're writing, I will.
Well, you have to embody it. You have to
Right.
feel what it would feel like, you have to imagine what it would feel like to step into a safe home that you love and that's peaceful. And so when you're going about your day, you imagine yourself actually doing those things. And it sounds funny, but that's the next level of manifestation is
You
being
picture
in that vibration of it.
being in the vibration of it, but visualizing, this is the trick, acting as if it's happening right now.
Right.
You got to literally
That's what I
feel,
mean.
by feeling that sense of how you're going to feel and connecting with that vibration,
Like it's happening.
but it's happening
right
in the
now.
present moment.
Right. Not
Well, because and I'm doing this with everything. Like when I look up to the sky and I see clouds that look like mountains, I imagine what country I'm going to be in that I will be able to look that far.
that's
So
perfect.
when I see the colors that are so vivid, I imagine myself being in a tropical place, talking about ER shred and performing and doing the things that I do naturally anyway, but at a much broader level, a higher level of, like I perform in my head all the time, but now I'm performing in the group, and I'll get back to performing physically as a clown, but that right there is my multiple stream of income. I'm already doing horses, and then clowning is now, and ER shred, I've got 2 shredders, and she's already sharing. So it's all coming, but I think the desires, when I'm able to believe what I desire belongs to me and that I will have it, that's when the shift for my energy toward the business and everything else is going to follow, because I really feel like I need to shift the personal stuff now. And it's already shifted.
It is.
I mean, it's just-
And we all see that in you, and you
Thank you.
a shining example of what's possible.
Yeah.
That said, just follow those videos, do the
Okay.
work, do the journaling, and just you're doing the work, and it will become your reality. It will happen.
Yeah.
And
I know it will.
I just want to
And I've finally set a date for certain things too. So I already know what month that this is going to happen. And it's just one day it's going to flip, and it's all going to, I was telling my mom, I've already set my dominoes up, but I need to make sure I knock the first domino down first, because everything will fall in place after. I can't go knocking the third domino. So my goals I've already set them specific, and I really, this is it. I'm so excited for
that is
2022,
exciting.
but it's all happening
That's
now.
great.
Yeah.
Well, we want everybody in our community to have the same success, Mimi, and that's why we do these calls. So
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy
Good
your
night,
family.
everybody.
Hey guys, just want to toss something out there. So
Yes.
if you would, I put up a post that, so the Drury family grew, official date was December 2nd, but my youngest son and his wife, they received the official adoption papers today. This dated
Oh.
December 2nd. So Ray Don Drury, is my
This
new
one?
official
Is this the
grandson.
post?
Awesome.
Oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait to see it.
Yeah, so
I gotta
that's,
put my reading glasses on. Oh, Don, I'm
Yeah,
so
so-
excited for you.
so Ray's official now. My,
Yay!
and you know what?
Awesome.
So where did I first met you guys in, was that Nashville or was that Vegas when I met you guys?
Nashville.
I think it was
Okay.
Nashville.
Nashville.
Yeah.
So that at that Nashville celebration, my wife and I get the call on the phone, or we got a text that my son and his wife had only been married 5 months, that they
Yeah.
were fostering a baby. And we're like, oh, you guys are crazy, it's nuts, you guys just got married. But we love this little guy so much. It's
Oh.
it's it's just been a great thing for us and the
Oh,
family.
that's,
So,
That's awesome.
so beautiful.
so
I
that
didn't
happened
know
today, but
that.
yeah, well,
Oh,
check-
Oh, he's
check it out.
adorable.
congratulations.
well, thanks. So you guys have a great night. And now, are we going to do this next Thursday? You know, I don't know. It's the day
Thursday
before
isn't
Christmas. Well, no,
it's
the night
Christmas
before
Eve
Christmas Eve.
or
No, it's,
Christmas Day? Yeah,
it's
we
the
won't.
night. It's the night before Christmas Eve. So
Yeah.
It's the eve of Christmas Eve.
yeah.
We'll see.
I
We'll
hear a
see.
poem.
I think we'll probably, we may
Probably.
do something, but we probably,
Yeah.
yeah, it's that time of the year. But that's why I really want to talk about New Year's resolutions, goal setting and so forth. Just,
Absolutely.
let's just spend the next 2 weeks, kind of deciding what we want 2022 to look like and beginning to visualize and put it down on paper and yeah, watch Bob Proctor, change your
Right.
paradigm.
Absolutely.
Stuff. All
Sounds
right.
Thank
good.
you so much,
All
everybody.
right.
You guys.
Good night.
be
Bye,
great.
guys.
Good night, everyone.
Take care.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.